safety. All right, safety of the home. We touched a little bit with the choking in the first class on safety and baby proofing, okay? So let's get a little bit more into safety now. All right, baby proofing 101, underneath the sink, any chemicals, any of that stuff, you want to either get rid of it, put it up on a high shelf, make sure that cabinet is locked. Those little dish pods, major choking hazard, major choking. A lot of kids choke on that stuff. They choke on the wrappers, they choke on the pods. So 101, very first thing, any chemicals, any poisonous stuff, of course, get it out of there, move it away. And again, with baby proofing, how do you want your place to feel? Yes, you can baby proof every single nook and cranny, and you could also leave open the Tupperware drawer, right? The pots and pans, if you feel comfortable doing that. I'm here to share with you, I think I mentioned it in the other class. Man, look, there's been a lot of maturing for this guy over these last 16 years, okay? I was super judgy. Even judgy with baby proofing. I had all this pride that we had less baby proofing and like that was supposed to mean something. Everyone needs to go with your comfort level with baby proofing. I was all hot and heavy, haha, they had the toilet locks. I've met some people that had kids that drowned in the toilet, right? Toddlers, they're very top heavy. And if they fall in, they can't get out, right? So very quickly, I started learning through this process and through the birthing community, and being a parent, if we don't want to be judged on how we parent our kids, we don't judge other people, right? We're all doing the best we can with what we have, with our consciousness level, with our understanding of health and wellness, and how connected we are and how much support we have with each other. A lot of folks, they don't see eye to eye on a lot of these kind of issues at home, which causes conflict. And, so it's not always so easy, right? It's not always so easy. And being a little less judgmental, it goes a long way, and it takes a lot of pressure off of us so we can just be ourselves and do the best we can do and not worry about somebody criticizing us or whatever, right? So with baby proofing, however you feel comfortable, all right? Look, coming from a chiropractic background, I've seen what a fall down the steps can do to a person. And that freaked me out. So we had a gate at the top of the steps and a gate at the bottom of the steps. And I've met dudes that were like, no, when my kid discovers the steps, they're going to learn how to crawl up the steps. And they do, a lot of people, and no problem. You know what I mean? Like, there's no definitive. It's going to be what you feel comfortable with baby proofing. There's everything that you can imagine with the baby proofing. Now, a couple good things that you really do want to consider having is depending on your door, maybe a chain lock at the top, because I got to tell you, as soon as your kid can reach the door handle, even with baby locks sometimes, they open that door and out they go, okay? And it's happened to us. We're like, where's Eliana? Where's Eliana? Oh, she found her way outside, okay? We then put in a bolt lock at the top and a chain thing at the top that they couldn't reach. So that's something, okay? And again, you want to get on your hands and knees, scout around, see if there's sharp edges. Maybe these edges you do want to put the styrofoam, maybe over here you don't. Whatever you're going to feel comfortable with, okay? That is to the extent of baby proofing. I think that's the best thing I can share with you, right? So you want to feel comfortable. With dogs, so much is dependent on their age, their breed, how long you've had them for. Most problems with dogs in the house with infants is not that the dogs, are violent towards the kid or too rough. A lot of times it's when the dog gets up and the baby's on the floor walking around and the dog steps on the kid, right? So that is pretty common. And every dog is different, right? So you're going to introduce the dogs, a few things off the bat. I mean, off the bat, they're going to be licking your baby's face, and we know they were just licking their behind 5 minutes ago. That's having a dog, okay? It's a dog. And there's also a ton of research that says when animals are in the house, your kid's immune system will be boosted because they're introduced to different germs and all that other stuff that dogs bring in, okay? With the dogs, you know, your dog is going to either super duper bond with the baby and it's now the protector, or your dog, I mean, again, over all these years and connecting with so many dudes who have animals, I've heard so many different stories. Some, you know, the dog is like the protector and sleeps under the bed and, you know, under the crib, and that's that. And I've heard also the dog is like, meh, and goes on its way. You're just never going to know until you make that introduction, all right? So let's just say you bring your baby home and the dog connects and everything's pretty cool. And let's just say, for the example, that you aren't in love with the dogs. Maybe you're feeling like it's a little more aggressive than you would like. Here's something that you can do to help reestablish dominance, okay? And because your dog is a pack animal and it literally understands like this hierarchy of who's in charge, you know, in the pecking order, here's a technique that you can use that my friend Steve shared with me, and Steve rehabs abused dogs and gets them ready to be reintroduced to families, okay? And this is how it goes. You can get your dog, lay her down on her back, which is a submissive position, right? They don't always love that, although this is part of this little technique to help get them back under control, right? To really reestablish dominance. They're on their back, and again, this is all done in the most loving, caring way possible, okay? Your dog's on its back in a submissive position. You lay on top of your dog. Good girl, good girl, good girl. Yes, daddy loves you. Good girl, good girl. All of that, okay? For as long as your dog could manage being on her back, all right? Then you come up, then your woman lays on top of the dog, okay? Lays on top of the dog. Good girl, good boy, whoever it is, okay? Positive, positive. You're just reestablishing who's on top. Then your woman gets up, the baby, you hold the baby on the dog's belly, okay? Good boy, good girl, good, okay? And it's learning the baby is literally on top of the dog in the pecking order. It works, okay? It helps. Now, you might need to do this 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, you know, depending on how long you can get the dog down and under control. And this will show and help to reestablish dominance, okay? I'm sure there's other techniques. This is the one that I've been recommending, and my understanding is it's very, very effective, okay? The other thing that you can do is, if that doesn't work, right? And again, these are just to reestablish dominance. You could do the same thing and add, okay? And again, nicely, gently, this is not violent at all, okay? You can add putting your fist in the dog's mouth, okay? Good boy, good girl, good boy. It's another way to you're reestablishing dominance, okay? In a nice way, you're using some power, okay, to do that, to help reestablish some dominance so you can get them a little bit better under control, all right? And again, ultimately, if they're really, you know, more than you want, of course, I mean, there's always getting rid of your dog. I'm not recommending that at all. When we had our first babe through, we had a dog, she was our baby, and then she became the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th in line. I mean, and she was super cool. She was such a good dog, and she kind of just flowed with all of it, and we never really had any issues. I'm hoping that's the case for you, and if your dog is more aggressive, then this is one set of tactics that you can use to help to reestablish dominance, all right? So let's just say that first introduction when you came home, You want to make sure it's super positive. Treat, treat, treat. Good boy, good boy, good boy, good boy, good girl, good, 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 good. Loving them up, loving them up. So this introduction is as positive as possible, right? Because, again, they are going down in the pecking order. So helping them to feel loved and appreciated and that you love them. And there's this new person who's your baby and they're coming into the mix. Okay. So the same with cats. All right. So we had a dog. Our dog died a couple years ago, unfortunately, and super sad. She was such a good dog. And now we have a cat. All right. I grew up hating cats. No way. Cats. Dude, I love the cat, all right? So I opened up my heart for a cat, and I gotta tell you, she's the best dog I ever had. She's so easy, and our particular cat, she'll roll on her back, and she snuggles, and then goodbye. When you have 4 kids, we were like, I can't handle another, a dog is like a person. You have a dog, you have a person. Okay, so we have a cat now. And if we had a cat, when the baby came home, there's a few things that I would do for sure, right? I mean, and if you have a cat, you understand sometimes you wake up and they're sitting on your chest, right? So I would for sure, any place my baby was sleeping, I'd have a net. They make those nets. It's like a dome that goes over it. That's just me, okay? That is for sure. Just because we don't want them going in there sitting on your infant, okay? They're not prepared for all of that. And the other thing too is when you do make the introduction, and we both know, I mean, if you have a cat, they're kind of like roommates that live there and they do their thing. They come when they want to, they go, okay? Positive reinforcement even with the cats. So you're bringing a baby home, you want to have a bag of treats. Good girl, good boy, positive, 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 okay? Those are the main things I'd say. You're bringing a baby home, you have a cat in the house, and depending on the cat and if they're indoor, outdoor, nails clipped, all of that, right? You want to take all of that into account, right? Ultimately, when you're introducing a pet to your baby, positive, positive, positive reinforcement, positive, positive, positive. And then, you want to make sure your dog is chill and cool because, again, the baby, as they get a little bit older, they're going to be pulling on it, yanking on it. Positive reinforcement and then management, right? It's again, management. You're managing those relationships and making sure everything is moving smoothly.